All right, so I'm not really sure if this story is funny or anything, but I know that I have in our script that we're supposed to tell a funny story. So, in the spirit of trying to be funny on command, uh, y- I start going for walks. I've gotten up to where I've been doing walks every day. So I try to stay really present when I go for a walk. I'm not trying to get kidnapped or nothing. But sometimes my mind wanders. And I guess my mind wandered a little too hard because there was this shadow that came over my shoulder, and instead of just like reacting like I guess the normal person would by like turning to look and see what was coming up, I instead decided like the most logical response was to whip around, strike a boxer pose, go ha, and make a guy that's like 6'2" and his running partner, this little redhead lady, like jump. like like I'm not going down. like they were like, oh my god. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was ready to put every single one of the action movies that I've ever watched to use right then and there. so bad. I felt so bad for doing it. Oh man. So
You
bad.
know, it's it's better scare them than the alternative.
Yeah. 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 Like I said, I'm not trying to get kidnapped or nothing.
Yeah.
so, I guess cue
No.
intro. I'm Rebecca,
And I'm Deanna. And we're
the Halfwit Sisters. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Halfwit Sisters.
So welcome back everyone to Halfwit Sisters.
Normally I just refer to our episode like or our show as Halfwit.
Yeah.
Looking for a thing. So I wanted to mention that I got feedback for the first time ever on our show, which really means I just got complaints from Mama, but it's feedback nonetheless. And she had some valid criticism, and a lot of it was that our stuff tends to be a little all over the place. And some of that is because we come to these episodes with not a single clue of what we're going to be doing. It's just kind of like, all right, we're going to say some things, hope that they make sense. Maybe we'll do a second take. Maybe we won't.
Maybe. It's not like we've ever done that.
Dun, dun, dun. Our last episodes where we had to do like several just because we could not get like a great take at all the first two times. But yeah, we never really come to these with a very clear idea. Like we know kind of what we want to talk about, but never like a super bullet pointed list of where we're really going to go. So we just hope that we're going to hit it at on point. But what I did tell her is I do watch back these episodes and I try to make an educated guess on where our minutes are. Right? We do talk about certain things for a good chunk of time. So if we talk about something for 10, 15 minutes, then I take those minutes and I put them down in the descriptions below. Like, if you go look at our last episode, you will actually be able to see. Am I boring you?
No, sorry. I'm still waking up.
That's like a total teacher thing to do. Excuse me, Miss Easton. Am I boring you? No, miss. No. Would you like to tell the class what is so boring?
Well, ma'am.
Anyways, so in the description below, I break up the episodes by minutes, right? And YouTube has this awesome thing where you can do a format of 00:00 dash 00 : whatever of the minutes, and you can click on them and it'll take you to that specific portion of the episode and watch. So I do that, and you can see that in the last videos that we have put out in our descriptions. So just go there. We're always going to have something. And if you don't see them, or if you have any questions, then you should put those questions down in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them. So happy. So
Every
please
time
ask questions.
Every time I hear comment, I always hear comet. So it's the comet section, as in a comet, a thing in the sky, Halley's Comet, like that.
So I just wanted to make sure I made that known. Where'd you go? There you are.
I fell out of screen because I was embarrassed. I forgot what I was saying.
So I just wanted to make sure I made that known. That's always going to be a thing that we do. Even if I don't get it up the day that we let the episode out, I will make sure to get it at least within that first week that the episode's out. We do a lot of stuff, especially because, you work.
Yes. I work a lot.
And I exist. So we've got things on our plate. Okay, that being said, what's today's episode about?
So we wanted to talk about the costume design, the world building, project life, and if we have time, your TikTok debut.
My TikTok debut. Oh my gosh, my TikTok debut.
So I'll go ahead and start us off with Belladonna's look. And so where that started was in the wrestling league that I was supposed to be a part of that we left. A whole long story, not going to get into it. Just side note.
Creative differences. Let's just leave it at that.
Yes, but I honestly, I sent you the message. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Creative differences.
Yeah. And so, but one of the things like the owner wanted was they wanted to have these promo videos, and that's where Belladonna's intro video comes in. That's up on my channel. We'll probably also put it up on this channel, just not with my intro. But so we had that, and so he had mentioned that he had a leopard print leotard ready for me, which I don't wear leopard print.
Well, your character was supposed to be modeled after a character from another female league called Jungle Girl.
Yes.
Right? So he was really pulling your characters, like the inspiration for your character off of another league entirely. And that lady, in some of her promotional material, wore a lot of like jungle-esque, including leopard print. Right? Yeah. So I guess that's where he was getting it from.
Yeah, and the other inspirations were very much the same that he had given me. They were all wild characters that had like animalistic tendencies and were very like the strong. How he came to that conclusion after watching my Instagram, I don't know, but that's where he had me placed. So I don't own anything leopard print, or I didn't at the time. I had But since he wanted to do these videos and I was trying to be proactive and I really wanted it to succeed, I bought myself the Leo that I wear for that video. And then because I'm not a big fan of my body from my waist to my knees, I wanted to get a skirt because that Leo also happens to be very high cut.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed a skirt to go under it, and then I also wore dance tights, and then my Harley Davidson combat boots. And that's how I had it as Bella. There wasn't really much thought into it other than I needed something that was animalistic. So I had the leopard print. I needed something to cover my waist because I don't like that part. And I was drawing inspiration from like Tarzan with his, what's it called? Things.
Yeah.
And so, and that's where I came up with that. And then when you had messaged me about Belladonna's henchman look, I was like, okay, let me pull out stuff from my closet. And I pulled out this Ghostbusters, jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Was like, this could work. It's very stereotypical worker bee. Wasn't overly impressed with it, but it was an idea. And for those watching, my closet is filled with a whole bunch of random pieces that I can make into random costumes. So I was like, let's keep looking. Finally, I pulled out this jacket that was yours.
Yeah.
From
when I was
like
16.
Yeah.
My one purchase from like Hot Topic. Like...
Yep. And I still have it and I fit into it and pulled that, grabbed some fishnet tights and I'll photo, which I need to get a good photo of that today. Fishnet tights with these boots that I had bought recently at JCP. No, yeah. And sent that to you with one of the face masks that I currently own because world events.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yeah, no, that one's it. And then a few days later, I was like, this costume feels so familiar. And then it hit me. Repo, the genetic opera.
Yeah, the henchman. From
Rod
there.
Largo's bodyguards.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about this comparison. That was a good costume design. And after that, I was looking. When I had sat there and sat with that costume for a second, I was like, I'm going to need to change Belladonna's villain outfit.
Well, we also said that because we realized that one of the reasons why Belladonna's outfit for her villain look was going to have to change is because we were coming up with ideas for the boss character being like the typical cliche villain from ideas from Evil Overlord, but also like the Boomer, and also because we wanted to have like one or two ideas of her being over sexualized or sexual harassment TikTok videos, right? And I know that sounds nasty, but when you see the TikTok video that'll eventually come out from it, you'll kind of get where we're coming from on that, right? And we wanted her not only to just own her sexuality, we also wanted her to go in a completely different direction from what her henchman look is, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, hey, I don't think she's going to have this look as a villain. She's going to have a different look entirely. And that's when you started sending me pictures of pants.
Yes. So I was looking at it and look, I'm not the most fashionable person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking on Google and I just put in leopard print and was trying to get inspiration from some of those Google image searches. And then I went on, not sponsored, but Shein, because I knew they had a whole bunch of random things. And I was looking, and I was like, okay, I want it to be sort of high-waisted. I want it to not be skinny jeans, or I want it to be a looser fitting, but it has to come in at the ankle so I can put the boots on. Mm-hmm. And that led me to the cargo pants that I found. Mm-hmm. And I sent you 2 different options because I was like, one's more interested in the other. But let me get your opinion on it. And that's where I came up with the cargo pants. You came back to me with a Kim Possible gift. And I was like, yes. Unintentionally, yes, but also
it was so great.
But
so great. I was in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, not a sponsor, Chick-fil-A parking lot when you sent that to me. I was like, how do I put it?
But and the reason I came up with this, and you sent me a video this morning from Movies Insider on YouTube, how the transforming wedding dress was designed for Ready or Not. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, yes. And that's exactly the thought process I went through with henchman to villain Belladonna. We started off on this very sexualized, low cut, kind of only wearing a bra jacket with really short shorts and fishnet stockings. Mm-hmm. She's not happy about that. She's in high heels. Who wants to do that?
Right. And we talked about, another thing we talked about was like the Jurassic World, yes. Jurassic World lady, who ran Jurassic World, and how she was running around in the jungle in high heels, and like how impractical, because I try to walk across a field in high heels and I sunk straight through the turf, like, come on. Like, this stuff isn't practical at all.
No. And so that's like, okay, so where are we going to transform that into? She's not going to continue wearing a skirt that when she kicks, you have a moment of, did I just see her? She's not going to do that. While she's comfortable with her body and her sexuality, she's not going to do that because it's impractical. So pants. I get to keep the combat boots because I went from the heeled ones from the villain to the biker boots, combat boots that I have from Harley Davidson. Again, not sponsored. That's what I call them because that's the brand. So they're flat. Mm-hmm. Still going to use the Leo because I have it and I need to use it.
Right. Well, so if you haven't seen Ready or Not, it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It's not for children at all. We'll put the link in the description below for how they design the wedding dress. But if you haven't watched it, pretty much that wedding dress, they even say it itself, it's a character of the movie, in the movie as well. And not that it comes alive like anthropomorphic, but the way that the dress transforms throughout it is like also in parallel with how the character also transforms throughout the movie. And they had to really think about how this dress would look through all of the shit the lady goes through in that movie. From tearing her dress so that she could run, to even down to like how she tears off and like one of the sleeves so that she can bandage one of her wounded hands. Like, it's a really interesting process entirely. And for me, it was not only was it an interesting process to watch you, DJ, go through like your thought process on how you were developing this henchman look to, and even how you took into consideration the boss, right? Like how the boss informed her overall villain look. That was actually really interesting for me to see as well. So overall, we're both kind of happy with what we came up with. And her look may change a little later on, but where we're at right now is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm excited. The pants are currently in the mail. Hopefully they'll get here soon. But yeah, so and I'll put up images of the 3 outfits
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I get the pants for the 3rd outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see them now, then
Mm-hmm.
yay, the pants came in. If you don't see them now, you'll see a really bad rendering of what it would look like with the pants.
It's like like the serial killer like cut out style.
Yep.
So great.
um, so so you'll see from henchman to the original Belladonna outfit to where I went, because after seeing how cool the henchman looked, I was like, this one doesn't, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't look as good.
Yeah, no.
So,
Awesome.
uh,
Okay. So here we'll pivot to kind of my side of it. So you were getting the henchman stuff. I was like, all right, I've got all of our groundwork laid for our project management, our channels, and how we're going to file share essentially. And I started doing the more creative stuff, the funner things to do, which is the world building, character building, and story building. And I'm just going to be straight honest. When I do my stuff, none of it is ever like straight or like, okay, I'm working only on world, I'm working only on story, I'm working only on character. It's kind of more like I work on chunks here and there, and it gets a little, I'm not gonna, convoluted is not the right word. All over the place.
it makes sense to you, but looking at it, it looks like one of those
It's like a
scribble drawings.
the TikTok video. Right. I should. That
There's
should be.
your first TikTok.
That should be my second TikTok. Like how people think story is made, and then how story is actually made. So good. So I will say one process that is very common for me to do is I always pick out my notebook. I said last time that I have over 40 notebooks. I it's a lot of notebooks. I have interesting notebooks. Right? I always get like interesting and then I put like what there is. So like this one is like dream and silly ideas. I have vivid dreams, so sometimes I record them. And then I'll go into like Barnes and Nobles and I'll find like a really interesting design, and sometimes I just cannot leave without them. Like I have to have them. Yeah. So I'll have some like really pretty notebooks. But for Belladonna, sometimes I just will grab one that has like a saying on it. So this one says, with brave wings, she flies because I'm cheesy as hell. And that is exactly what she does. With brave wings, she flies, which I thought was funny because we were talking about, I was doing some brainstorming for like evil companies, and I was using like mystical weapons as an inspiration for coming up with like what an evil company name would be. And we had done what, eagle.
Yes, because I misunderstood the story from the blurb, but it's a North mythology, which is almost like William Tell's story, just a little different ending. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. So so with brave wings she flies. So I picked this one. So this is now the one that's going to house anything that has to do with Belladonna. And in here it just has a lot of just random things. So I'm not going to really read it out. But it does break down some of the ideas. So I had to really break them down into a thing that would make sense so that my brain could process through everything. The only reason why I really started going through this process is because I had a script idea that I absolutely wanted to write, but I had no world, no characters besides Belladonna, besides Belladonna, or anything that I could really reference for the script. So I had to create the evil company. I had to make sure I had a boss. I had to make sure that I had a basic idea of what the world is that we're working with. And I wouldn't say that I have the world at all. But I do have a few knowns, right? When you're working on world building and you're doing storytelling in general, there are things you need to do, right? Or you're telling a story in general. There are knowns, things you don't need to tell the reader or viewer.
Watcher.
Yeah, watcher. And things you can trickle in, right? So things you need to tell them, things you don't need to tell them, and things you can trickle in. Stuff that I was working on for this script is things I don't really need to tell them, right? And some things that I can trickle in. Those are the two things I was working in here. The stuff I can trickle in is the structure of the company Belladonna works for. So the supervisors are all given, like, you know, the military call signs like Alpha, Delta, Beta. That's not even how you do it. That's not even the correct way of doing it, but Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta. Like, those are how the supervisors are done, right? So I was working on, so I had that. So once I had that, I was able to start writing the script, and I made one of the supervisors, like that really bitchy supervisor nobody really likes. You know, that one that's like, you're 5 minutes late, or like you clocked in 2 minutes late today, kind of thing.
You're 5 seconds late. I'm gonna have to deduct points.
Right. Yeah, excuse me? So I was working on things that the reader doesn't really need to know and things that I could trickle in. And these things are important, like I said, because it will inform on how I read the world. So one thing that I don't think you really need to know is and there's another script that I wrote, and we can kind of get into it here. Like, well, I guess we could read them, should we?
No, spoilery.
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah. So there's I made some friend characters for her, and one of the friends characters that I have is Jill. And I put on her character, or not her, Jill, because it's a female name, but I put in that character's profile gender fluid, right? And that their pronouns is them, they. A lot of gender fluids use them, they as their pronouns. This is gender fluid. You don't really need to know that. That goes under not need to know. But I put it there because it makes it a little bit easier for me to have, or maybe it's under trickle. My brain just broke for a second.
Wouldn't that be trickle, though? Because Belladonna does reference them.
Yeah. I broke my brain for a second because I was remembering, why don't I need to know it? There's something specific about Jill that you didn't need to know. I broke my brain. Cut that out. Don't cut it out. I did break my brain now. Because, yeah, the gender fluid stuff, anything that has to do with sexuality, you can usually put it under, like, things to trickle out. Things you don't need to know usually can be things like family background. Like, you don't really need to know it. That's what it was. Like, Jill's family background, you don't really need to know it. But it cannot inform the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think was one of the things is like her family background. You don't need to know this, but I have a family background for her. him, it, them, they. Oh my gosh. You see why why I can get confusing so
Yeah.
easily? Like this is one of the other reasons why you have the character background and why there's like all these not Bibles. What do they call them? Character?
Breakdowns.
Yeah, character breakdowns. There's a specific word for them um that you use. Anyways, I'm getting further away from it. So I had to work all that stuff out just so that I could write these two scripts. And while I don't have it all fully fleshed out, I do have some of the basics done, as well as some of the basics for Belladonna's backstory done, so that I can start working on her stuff as well. And I can say this now as well, DJ. Please don't let me be the only one doing the writing. Feel free. Now that I've got a lot, like I know the reason why you haven't touched it is because like there was a lot of unknowns, like what's the structure of the company? What did the company even do? Now we kind of have an idea
Yeah.
of what the company does.
Well, that's the thing. It's like my writing's so different than yours. I don't do world building when I write stuff. I just write and then hope it made sense. But now that you have world building, I'm like, okay, now like with the prompts that I had done from eviloverlord.com, I can go back, revisit those and go, okay, well, let's switch this from being just her being like, no, we don't do that, to why the did this guy do this? And like I have another character she can be complaining about. I have a world I can reference into that. So it's a little easier, I guess, to make it consistent between two different writers.
Right. And now you know what a writer's room does. Like why they have these big Bibles of just like lore that they reference continuously because they have so many different writers. And even within that, they'll have rules like this character will only do this character will never do this. Right. I'm sure like a cool thing, like we can talk about the Avatar, the last Airbender, right? They might have had like Zuko will say my honor like 50 times in an episode. If Zuko has not said my honor in this episode, you fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are clear rules that a character can and cannot do, and that they would make sure that the writers would adhere to those rules. So this is effectively what we are now doing, what we now have. Here are a clear set of rules. Here are the things that we can and cannot do. Go out and do it. And this will now allow me to start focusing on, I can do some of the TikTok scripts, but I can also now focus on the life of the project and start tackling the bigger portion of our project, which is the choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Which now we can pivot to the life of the project. Now this is a really bit tricky. This is a bit of a trickier one. The life of a project, when we talk about this, is not just like the development of it, but also how long it exists sort of after we've launched it. Right. And what I mean by that is, what do we continue to create things for it after we've launched the game? So if we're saying, I'm just going to put an arbitrary date, this does not mean that we're actually putting it out on that date, but let's say we're putting it out on October 10th, right? So on October 10th, the choose your own Bella's first heist goes up. We have the lead up, so all through September up to October 10th, we have the TikTok videos of like Henchman Bella, that series going up. From there, right, we have promotional videos of Bella doing, becoming a villain. So videos of her like testing out her catchphrase, her villain catchphrase, or picking out her villain look, right? Things to promote the the game,
CY.
right? The game, things to promote the game. And we do that for 2 months, right? Because we still want to promote it for a certain amount of time. Then we can pivot to a different, say we would pivot to a different project. Or we start thinking about, well, what else do we want to do with Bella, right? Is the game a one and doneer? Are we only doing this one thing and then we're like, Bella's just kind of gonna sit there and be a character we pull out every once in a while when we want to make a commentary on what it's like to be a millennial finding a job in the game, in the industries, right? Or like we want to comment on being like an evil person or da 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 or something like that, right? Like we pull her out whenever we want to make a colorful commentary on something, right? This is what I mean by the life of the project.
Yeah.
How long do we want Bella to be around?
Yeah. And so for me, I think it feels weird to continue doing things knowing there's not going to be another story. While it's great to have her be able to pull her out and do commentary, that's perfect because of where we're bringing her from, because you can always bring back henchmen, Belladonna, as like, oh, remember when I was corporate and I had to deal with this. And so it's nice that we have both corporate and independent Belladonna that we can always pull from. But I think I I would like to do seasons of it. So season 1 is this first CYA. And then maybe not in a couple months, maybe next year, we bring another one, because it also feels weird that our CYA as we have it right now is very short. Like, yeah, there's a couple different endings you can go through. But once you've hit the 4 endings, that's it.
When did it become 4 endings?
Two heists per.
I'll work it
player.
out. Yeah, I got it. Like my brain just isn't there yet. Okay. No, and I get where you're coming from. The other thing so yes, I agree. I like that idea. It's like, one, we can use her in this way. The other one is like having her the games as in like seasons. The other thing that I also keep in mind is when I'm thinking about life of content, right? A thing in marketing is evergreen content. What that means is just content that can be used continuously, that doesn't age in any way. And so news clips, those are not evergreen, because news clips, they're meant to show you a specific time. They are a snapshot of time that is happening right then and there, right? So news clips are not evergreen. The things we're doing with Belladonna are, so henchman Belladonna very much can be evergreen, because anybody can pick up it, can relate to Belladonna running late to work, right? Or getting written up for being out of uniform or something like that, right? Somebody can relate to that. And we can also, if we're doing it in some of the ways we're thinking, where we have characters that will actually be voiced, even though they're not seen, somebody can do a duet to that, right? And if somebody's duetting that extends the life of that video. That's an unintended benefit. I was about to say consequence. It was an unintended benefit, which is even better. And that's what a lot of people wish for their content, is to have that extension that goes beyond its initial
minute of life.
It's initial reason for existing kind of thing, right? So I think I'm thinking of these kind of things, and that also informs some of the ways that I write some of the content as well. Because if I really want somebody to duet one of those videos, I'm really going to be honing in on the dialogue of not just Belladonna, but also the person that she'll be talking to. So I really want that that dialogue to be interesting, to be snappy, to be witty. And so, yeah, in a lot of ways, I do sit down on TikTok and I'll scroll through and I'll find like those really funny ones that are just like super witty and try to draw inspiration from those. But those are some of the ways that, thinking of the lifetime of the project also informs some of the ways that I am writing some of our content as well. So I wanted to kind of bring those up because we talk a lot about how some of the things, like we were talking about how watching TikTok, the drama going on with TikTok and whether or not it's going to get shut down informs the way that we're making our decision on whether or not we were going to use TikTok, right? So this is another thing that I'm kind of like keeping in mind as well.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't have anything to add to that.
I don't. Look, my content, and you can see it with like my holiday shorts. Like I didn't do I did Halloween. I didn't do Christmas last year, but I did Christmas the year before. I should have done Christmas last year. I couldn't think of anything because what do I do? But my content's always just once the month is over, that's it. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. See you maybe later.
Well, so this is another thing that I realize. I guess because I have a completely different background in like the marketing aspect. When I talk to some clients, like they didn't really get the evergreen stuff. That's not a fault of yours. It's not or at all. It's just because of you want to find ways of cutting some corners where you can put up some content so that you can, keep some budget down. So you want that evergreen stuff. You want to be able to post it again 3 weeks later because you don't have to get a designer to do it. Or you can print out that flyer again and send it, right? Like stuff that you can use again and again that you don't have to call in a contractor to do. Those are kind of the reasons why that stuff existed and why I kind of think of them a lot. Stop. My cat's biting me again. It's always like when we're starting to get towards the end of the episode, it's like she senses it and she comes over. So while we're talking about TikTok, let's talk about the one thing that I still need to do. Look. My debut to TikTok.
Yes.
I keep holding off because I'm like, what if it's not there next month? And then I'm like, well, I should do it anyways, just because.
Like, if it's not there, it's not there. But that doesn't mean it's not there right now.
Yeah. I have a TikTok. I just have not done anything with it. Oh, excuse me. With it yet. So it's just a bunch of emptiness. So I need to do something with my thing. What? We talked about the being like my second one. What was your first TikTok video? Wasn't it the dancing one for a family?
Yes. Oh. So I couldn't figure out how to record that video with sound and set. So our family, one of them randomly sent us a video of them dancing, and it turned into a thing where all of us were replying to it and dancing. This was height of the uncuttable cutscene, and I was working a lot, and I had very little time, and so I was like, "Fuck it, I'll do it on TikTok." So, and I think I even put in the description something about when my family challenges me to a dance-off. That was my very first TikTok. My second one was the Wipe It Down challenge, which the transitions on that were awful.
Well, I think one of the things that intimidates me with TikTok is that I just don't know how to film it. Like I'm like, do I film it with like, do they have the whole filming thingy on its own? Do I need to use the camera thingy to film my own thingy? Like, how do I do the thingy to put the thingy on the thingy?
So
Or
you can do
does
it
it?
both ways. You can pre-record using your phone's regular camera, or you can record straight to TikTok. Um, Both have their benefits, and their cons. So the benefit of streaming straight to TikTok is you can use all the sounds and it's right there, and you can like set it to be a timer and easier transitions and all this fun filter stuff that you can do. The benefits of doing it with a pre-recorded video is if you have something like special that you want to do, like something that like you can't do on via the TikTok platform camera, you can do it on there. You can also do apparently you can do 3-minute videos on TikTok as long as it's a pre-recorded video. I haven't tried this yet. I saw a TikTok today that talked about it.
Okay.
I've done both ways. My ART3 series on TikTok, shameless plug. You can find it on my YouTube. I filmed that not on TikTok because I needed to take it and put a better green screen than the one TikTok can do.
Okay. Well, I'm not looking to do anything soon. What would you say is a good first TikTok video?
Wow.
You're no help whatsoever.
I am not. Well, it's also like, so my TikToks are all over the place. Like sometimes I can't do duets with sound. It doesn't let me do that. The mic icon is not on my things for anyone who is like, oh, just hit the mic. No, it's not there. So I can't do TikToks with sound. So like duets with sound. So like I have a whole bunch of reacts, me reacting to stuff that people are like, ooh, duet this. I'm like, well, I can't. So let me do it this way.
Does it have to do with some of your settings?
No, I think it's just some people's TikTok, because some people can and some people can't. And like I've gone through, I've checked all the settings, and it's like some people can also change it so that they're duetting something instead of being side by side, they're underneath. It's just I think some people have a different update, which I can't update. Mine's fully updated. It's just I don't know. I feel like there's 2 batches of TikTok out under one name, under one download, and sometimes you can do stuff, sometimes you can't.
Okay.
But I can tell you, if you want to do something and you can do duets, do a duet, because those get a whole lot more views than reacts do. Like I have 4 or 5 views on any of the reacts that I've done. The duet that I just posted yesterday has over 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Well, I guess like, finding out what kind of TikToker you want to be would help.
Yeah, so I looked at some author things, and that's another thing. Like, I'm not sure. That's one of the reasons why I don't really post to YouTube. Like, I've had friends that are like, "Well, just talk about, writing story." I'm like, there's so many people that do that. It's really hard to kind of stand out when you're one of those.
Yeah, especially for a new channel.
Yeah, and there's so many great ones that do it. There's a guy on TikTok right now that I'm watching who's doing pretty much the entire Avatar series. He's doing like 1-minute breakdowns of episodes of the Avatar that are just so good.
Yeah.
So good. He has rainbow suspenders.
I know the guy you're talking about. I watch him too.
Yeah, and it's really good. He'll break, and he's not breaking the entire episode down. He'll take the episodes into different parts, and then he'll do 1-minute episodes, 1 minute about them, and it's just so good. I'm like, I can't really compete with that. Like, so I'm really struggling, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I haven't put myself on TikTok because I'm like, well, what would I do?
Yeah.
Really? What?
But I feel like sometimes you just need to throw a handful of darts at the board, and
What?
the one that sticks.
Lost you.
I
You
said
broke it up.
sometimes you just need to like throw a handful of darts at the board, and one of them will stick, and that's what makes you famous, and that's what you end up doing your profile about.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how a lot of the TikTokers I watched watch ended up getting big is they were doing whatever they wanted, and then they had that one video that really went viral, and now their entire thing is like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah. I can see that.
There's one where he's just replying to comments that are telling him how to do this dance that he did certain ways. It's like, all right, do it with 10% in left arm, 100% in the right arm. So he's like, it's hilarious. Every time he scrolls across my feed, I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to think it through. So,
Well,
alrighty.
we found
Well,
your second TikTok.
huh?
We found out your second TikTok.
I have to think it through, I guess. All I know is I guess I just need to post something on TikTok. I'll figure it out. You useless person, you.
I'm so glad I could be of service.
Oh, jeez. So,
Oh, what you could do is
things.
you could just do. There's this couple that does dances on TikTok. They whenever they open TikTok, they take like the first sound that they hear and make a dance to it. So you could make something for the first sound you hear.
Okay. Thank you. Um, okay. I got distracted. My roommate brought me Frappuccino.
Where's mine?
Really, Jigsaw? She just ran and knocked my door open. Jesus. Okay, so let's set our goals for next week. I need to work on, besides getting on my first TikTok video up, I need to work on the heroes. I definitely need to start locking those in so that one, you can make some rants about the heroes, but also because we need them for the Choose Your Own Adventure. So I need to get those locked in. I need to lock in some things about the worlds because we definitely need rules about what the heroes can and cannot do. That's gonna be fun. Do I want to go the Christopher Nolan route or the Zack Snyder?
Well, that's also the other thing. It's like, what kind of villain, like, what kind of world are we? Are we living in the superhero kind of world, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I got as far as this is what the boss's company does. Like, that's it. I was like, I need to know what the supervisor's name is, so here's everything else. I ain't getting it. So I need to lock that in. I need to finish building out that stuff. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But
Yeah.
good talk.
Huh?
It's a good talk.
No, so that I need to hope that the costumes come in so I can get some good pictures of the costumes. I'll start working on some scripts. Um, and build my new computer.
Oh yeah, you got your editing computer to build.
Yes, hopefully, which I have to film. I have to film, build, and edit that video so that can go up on my personal channel. Shameless plug. We had
So
so many of those last episode.
that was great. So check that out next time. All right, everybody. If you like what you heard, like, comment,
Surprise! Like,
subscribe,
comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon,
so you can get the notification.
We will answer any questions or comments that you have
in the comments below.
So, see you next week. Bye.
Aww.
Yeah, that's staying in.